Okay, so in this video I'm just going to go through my big stack of adult colouring books and just flick through some of the pages that I've coloured, show you my work, and I'll leave in the description box down below all of the colouring book titles and the artists' names for you, just in case you were interested in any of them. So this is Millie Morota's Animal Kingdom. I've done lots of pictures in this book. I'm just going to flick through. It was one of my first ones that I've ever done. Peacock there. Snail. Giraffes. This is for a challenge where you had to do one side, one colour, and then you did the opposite on the other side. My gorilla, which I had done after a trip to the zoo, but it took me months. I regretted starting it actually. The whale, that was also for a challenge where you could only use blue. Purple bunny, I think that was another one where you could only use one colour. I'm a member on a couple of Facebook colouring groups. You just have some ideas occasionally of things you could try. This was another one. Drawing some circles and then only colouring inside the circle. And this one, I just love those candy bright colours. And I haven't finished the heron. Butterflies, elephant. That was actually the very first one I did in the book. Come a long way. Onto Daydreams by Hannah Kalzen. This is one of my favourite. I haven't done many in this yet. One of my newer ones. The title page. This one I've actually put wee bits of paper in just to stop the two colours all rubbing together. This one, I love this one. I use like a black paint pen for the background. This one, this book I decided I'd do in order. I don't know if I like doing them in order or not. Another one I haven't finished. And I'll just flick through the rest of them just to show you. I just love her art. Probably get some more of her books. Just because they're nice and they're nice hardcover books and they're just a wee bit more fancy. This is probably my next favourite, Romantic Country by Erie. This one has got the most flimsiest cover ever, but it's good because you can lie it out flat. One that I'm working on at the moment is the Christmas one, just because it's close to Christmas. I did some glitter on this, but I don't know if it's actually stuck. I tried to do it without making it too wet and marks, but it's gone everywhere. I might have to do it again. I love the illustrations on this book. She's actually hand drawn it all with a toothpick and ink. A bit different, and I love the smell of it for some reason. It reminds me of something as a kid. This is one of the pictures I've done. I love this one. I just love every page in this book. I could just go through and just, but yep, I'll colour that one in. That was the first one I did in this book. Old French house or something. And that one. In this book you can use pens as well and they don't go through the paper, which is great, just being able to have something else you can use. And then the Game of Thrones. I love the TV series. I haven't read the books, but my husband has, so occasionally he will comment on the TV series, and I'm like, okay, didn't need to know that. Ruins surprises. I'll just flick through, done a few in it. I love the artists that have come together and made this book. I think there's about 5 or 6 different ones, so you get a real good mix of different pictures. And they're just single-sided, so if you used pen, all it would be doing is going through on the writing, which is great. This one, I like to do different things. So I haven't coloured that in, and coloured all the back. And this one is focusing on trying to get the skin tones right. And I wanted him to stand out and the rest of them just to sort of blur into the background. Probably could have spent a bit more time on it, but some of the bigger pictures, you just want to move on to the next one. This one, Sansa. It's funny how you come back and look at the book and you think, I loved it when I'd done it, but I could add a lot more to it now. I put a lot more different shading in through the wolf and into her, just a lot more depth. Just grow as an artist. It's amazing how colouring books really help you. And this is the one my husband's done. The only one I've managed to get him to even start. Hasn't finished there. Okay, so this is Tanglewood by Jessica Palmer. So we flip through. I found in this one I've started quite a few and never finished, which I hate doing. I'm one of those people who has to really finish a picture before I move on to the next, but some of them I've just got so uninspired and just have to keep going. So just put it down and moved on to something else. This one. It's funny how you remember what you were doing with some of the pictures. Like this one, I was due with my second baby, overdue, just colouring this in, just trying to fill in time between sleeping. But I love this one, and I love the way the bird came out, just so vibrant, the yellow and the purple. This is my newest book by Christina Webb. I've followed her on Instagram for ages. I love her work. I don't think I can quite live up to it yet. I've just done the title page. Just flick through the rest quickly. This one's got most of the colouring books that have colour printed on them I really don't like, but this one I do because she's such a good artist. The colours are the sort of colours you'd actually want in your colouring book, where some of them they add colour and it just, like there'll be a whole page of an ugly green and it's like, how am I going to make that work? I don't like those sort of books, but I love this one. It's just a bit different to your standard colouring book. Oh, I love this picture, the ice cream and the flowers. This one, I've just done a couple in this. This one I was sort of working from the start of the sections, so where are we? Done the starfish. That's the start of the creatures section, and then there's the flowers and botanicals. I've started this, but I just can't, I find this book very hard to get the colour actually into it. You have to work very hard. Plus I want them to look like old scientific pictures at the same time, so it's very, very tricky, this book, but I love the pictures and I'm happy with them when they're done. These next couple of books I actually won in colouring competitions. This was a Whitcoulls colouring in competition that I won this book in. I haven't got around to colouring it yet, but I love some of the pictures. It's All Things Nice by Jo Pearson, a New Zealand artist. And it's really good paper too, nice and thick. And then the other one that I won was Mary Patterns by, what's his name? He's actually signed it for me. Mitchell Manuel. I haven't got around to colouring any in this yet, which I feel terrible for, but I'm more into the arty pictures. But it would be good if I just feel like colouring without having to think too hard. This next one, I think I got this at Whitcoulls, but yeah, I got this at Whitcoulls. But I've also seen it at Typo. I love this book. Cool Cats. Although with using pencil in this book, I find it really difficult to actually get the pigment into it. It just comes out very wishy-washy, so I've used the pen, but they're all single-sided, so you're not going to go through if you use pen, which is great to have that option. Actually, I forgot I had this in the bottom of the drawer. My mum got me this one when she went to Hawaii. It's only $3.95. Like most of these colouring books are sort of $15, $20. But this one, I actually love it. Patriotic posters. It's good to have a good variety, so if you feel like doing a certain picture, you can go through and just find something you actually want to do in that style. This is Creative Colour magazine. I haven't got too many magazines because I tend to find that they are sort of repetitive. This one I've done a lot of pen work in. Because originally I just loved using pens, but I've moved on to pencils because a lot of the colouring books are just too intricate to use pens. But I find if I'm doing pen work I can do it at night, which is good. Now this was one of my first colouring books that I got years ago, just on special at Whitcoulls, before adult colouring was a thing. Cats. Actually this book I've done probably about 4 or 5 pictures in it, but the pages are perforated, so I don't know where they've ended up, in a folder somewhere. Here's another magazine. This is just one, they can just get the pictures of stock images. So they're not unique to this book. Probably seen lots of these pictures before. I probably wouldn't have bought it if I had realised, because I kind of like to support the artists. I couldn't get that one to work. I loved the colours in the head, but this one I did so fast, probably in 5 minutes, just with my brush pens and then a few doodles on top. And same with that one. I've got some brush pens, they work so fast, you have to sort of scribble them in to get it so you don't have any lines. Forget Me Not Fairies. This is probably the first colouring book I got once the adult colouring phase came in, and I think I was going to start at the start with this one and work my way through, but after I got other colouring books I realised this one's not really for me. So I think I've started 1 or 2. I definitely started on this one, but my eyesight's just not good enough to be able to stick within the lines. They're just so tiny. I thought I'd started another one in this. Yeah, that one. I loved this bunny's wee face. But, yeah. This one. See, this one's got the colours already printed in. They're just, oh, I don't like it. I think I did one page. I was testing out my metallic pens there. And I've used pencils in this, but it's amazing to see how much my work's changed. And I don't think I've really done any in this one. I may have actually pulled some out. Yeah, I think I pulled a couple out of that book to colour. So there you have it, my big stack of adult colouring books. Looking at them now, I'm like, oh, got more than enough.